Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent.
Sean Diddy Combs.
It looks like Diddy's freak-offs and all his other rancid, heinous, and villainous actions are finally catching up to him because recently he ended up finally being arrested. And if you clicked on this video, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that you already know who Diddy is, but if you don't, Diddy is mostly known for being a rapper slash producer and also his terrible track record. And I honestly feel like calling it terrible might be an understatement. He's been suspected and accused of many crimes, including car bombings, aiding in murders, assault of just about every type, and basically every type of sex crime. And that's really just scratching the surface, but like I said, it looks like it's finally catching up to him. But getting right into it, we're gonna be taking a look at what Diddy is actually even being arrested for. Sean Diddy Combs has been charged with sex trafficking by force, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy, alleging he ran an enterprise that engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor or kidnapping, arson, and other crimes. Federal prosecutors said Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct from 2008 until now. The allegations mirror 11 civil complaints filed against him since 2023. Now, like I said before, that's really just scratching the surface of horrible things that he's done, and if I were to try to include all of them, this video would probably be over an hour. But if you're someone that knew anything about Diddy before the drama became this big, none of this would really come as a surprise to you, except for the next part that we're about to take a look at. So not only is Diddy being charged with all the things that we just mentioned, but during the raid on his home, they seized over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and other alleged freak-off items. And after hearing that, I feel like we almost need to take a minute to just gather our thoughts. Over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that this is really the main part of his case that the entire internet is talking about, or the fact that he had over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And I mean, I guess he really wasn't joking when he was calling them freak-offs. That's the only thing it can be when you have over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Where do you even get that many from? That has to be a special delivery order from the manufacturer. He has more baby oil than multiple stores combined. If Johnson & Johnson or whoever's making this baby oil has any sort of shortage anytime soon, they know who to call up to ask for some emergency inventory. I also want to bring up how funny it is that his freak-offs are genuinely being referred to as freak-offs, because at least for me, I thought that when the news and all these other legal associations started reporting on it, they'd try and find a different name to call it, but no. It seems like the genuine actual name for them is freak-offs. I also didn't know how bad his freak-offs were until I started doing my research for this video. His freak-offs were obviously freaky-ass parties that would sometimes go on for multiple days, where he just pumped people full of drugs, forced them to do unconsensual sexual acts while he sits there and watches while vigorously masturbating. And like I just said a second ago, this would go on for multiple days. But even with all the undeniable evidence, his legal team, of course, is still holding out hope and trying to defend him, and they released a statement saying, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." He described Combs as a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and a proven philanthropist, and said he is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. Mark said Combs has been nothing but cooperative with his investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. "Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court." Now, there's a lot to break down there. there. Starting with, I know that these people are his legal team and all his different attorneys and lawyers, and their job is supposed to be to defend their client no matter what. Even if they think or know that they did commit the crimes being brought against them, it's their job to defend them. But I feel like at a point, you almost have to just let it go. There's so much overwhelming evidence against Diddy right now that you'd literally have to be blind to not see it. And when I say see it, I mean that literally. There's genuinely video evidence of him committing some of these crimes being brought against him. So it's really hard for me to see any way that really anyone can defend him, and not only defend him, but half of this statement really just seems like a glaze fest. A music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, proven philanthropist. Like, what are you talking about here? He's an imperfect person, but not a criminal. Like, are you really sure about that? Are we talking about the same Diddy here? But it looks like some of the only real updates that we've gotten on this case since it first came out is Diddy attempting to bail himself out. And at least so far, it doesn't look like he's going to be seeing any luck with that, because I think at this point, this is the second time that he's been denied bail. He originally tried to bail himself out for $50 million, and that got denied. And then I think he also tried to overturn that and then propose a $75 million bail, and that got denied as well. And it looks like the reason that they're so hard set on denying him of this bail is because they believe that he could interfere with witnesses, which basically means they don't want him bailing himself out, and then all of a sudden, witnesses start going missing, which is obviously a super valid reason for denying him of bail. And all we can really hope for at this point is that they keep denying him bail, honestly. Because at this point, it's not even a question of if he bails himself out, will witnesses start going missing? It's more of a, if he bails himself out, witnesses will start going missing. So it looks like so far they are making the right decision with keeping him in jail and not letting him bail himself out. And with that, that's really where this situation wraps itself up. And I know this video was a bit shorter than usual, but that's because there wasn't too much to talk about. I didn't want to do an in-depth life story on Diddy, so that's pretty much it. And if you made it this far, make sure you drop a like and maybe even subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the year is over, so every sub counts. But I'm not gonna hold y'all for too long, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.